Hello, and welcome to another episode of Decentral Lounge brought to you by GlobalStake, your institutional, truly decentralized, self-owned and managed SOC 2 Type 2 compliant bare metal staking service provider. Today, we're excited to have Michael Hanono, the founder of CEO of Talus Network, as well as the COO Ben Frigon joining us. Talus Network is at the forefront of integrating artificial intelligence with blockchain technology, creating an innovative platform that leverages the power of the Move VM to enhance performance and developer experiences. Under Michael's leadership, Talus Network focuses on democratizing AI, ensuring that users maintain control over this transformative technology. Today, we'll explore how Talus is shaping the future of AI and blockchain and the role it aims to play in the everyday digital landscape. Excited to have you guys on today. Welcome to the show. Why don't we just start off with a little bit of your backgrounds, just what you did prior to coming to the blockchain industry, what it was about this that really kind of piqued your curiosity and made you want to join this particular industry.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Thank you for having us. I think mostly my background is industrial engineering and data science. Then I jumped into blockchain, realized that there was a huge potential for decentralized and open applications, specifically within DeFi, mostly coming from Panama and realizing that not a lot of people here own credit cards, bank accounts, and even banks themselves had a lot of control about how we interacted with the financial system. So for me, blockchain was okay, just connect to the internet, do a trade, invest, sell, buy without having to ask for permission, and spent a bunch of time there, and then started researching about obviously how the intersection of crypto and AI would come together, realized that there's a huge potential for on-chain and composable smart agents. And yeah, we've been going at it for almost a year now, trying to build these product and make the right research to build these applications that will enable smart agents to improve the way that we interact with the open internet and the internet as a whole, whether it's for traditional Web3 applications or consumer applications.
Ryan, Jordan, thanks so much for having us. I got into crypto around the same time a lot of people did during DeFi summer. So at the time I was working for an AI startup in AI edtech, and always had an interest in AI. Definitely came together with my interest in crypto in that I'm really interested in distributed systems and building really performative systems with blockchain infrastructure that can support high throughput, really cool use cases. And so that's what brought me to the Move ecosystem. I was at Movement Labs for a short time, and then I was a VC for a bit. And then when I decided to go back to being an operator, what's a cool area in the space, what really needs attention right now, I thought that the intersection of crypto AI was going to be the biggest new headwind in the entire industry moving forward. Because to me, blockchain and AI are the two most powerful technologies in the world today, and they complement each other, right? So AI has incredible potential, but it's susceptible to a lot of the same centralization and risk vectors that that's captured a lot of Web 2. And so by combining blockchain technology and the principle of decentralization with AI, we hope to create really expressive and performant systems that still stay aligned with user intents and provide really great user experience.
Interesting. So a quick question that might prime some of our listeners as we go into the rest of the conversation here would be, how are you guys actually combining AI and blockchain? So can you maybe describe from a high level what smart agents are and why the two of these actually really do mesh together and it's not two buzzwords that we're just throwing around?
Yeah, so how we think about smart agents is they're computer programs that are call them AI enhanced, that could learn from their environment. They could recognize different functions and could act based on predefined goals. So imagine an example, Ryan, you want to go and just optimize your calendar. You tell this agent, hey, look, here's my calendar. I want you to organize the meetings for next week. And then the smart agent will say, okay, you need to talk to XYZ person based on your goals, and then move meetings around to like fit your desired output and optimize your time. So you gave it a goal, gave it a description, and the agent goes and does all the work for you. How we're doing this, and this is specifically like a consumer use case, but how we're thinking about this and how we're putting all these different roles together is mostly around the concept of thinking about these smart agents in a composable way, where you could have an agent be composed of one or more models, data sources, compute providers, and if you think about it, it's like this makes agents not only modular, but it makes it more accessible. What if Ben has a data set that I don't have? I could go and I could purchase that data set, or I could just like pay for the usage to fine tune my agent. Or if Jordan, you have a compute cluster that I could use, I could just tap into a network and use it to build the agent. So it's kind of like a mesh of these different types of AI resources that we were able to represent on chain. And then developers could leverage these resources as building blocks to build the agents that are directly composable or directly defined with smart contracts. And that makes them interoperable with other applications within the network, or even for developers to come and build applications on top that would interact with the internet as we know it. I don't know, Ben, if you want to add to that description.
Yeah, so at a high level, AI right now in Web 2 is very cool. It's almost all generative AI. So it can create data for you, but it can't really act on any data. And even the Web 2 projects that are trying to build versions of AI agents are very simple use cases, like an email agent or something like that. We think that the next real unlock for AI use cases will be AI that can transfer value. And so that's what a smart agent is. It's AI that can handle money. The only way to do that is to use a common data substrate, which is what blockchains are, and have assets that live on that common data substrate. For the very simple reason that AI can't have a bank account, whereas it's trivial to assign AI a crypto wallet. We say all the time at Talus, AI can't use USD, it's going to have to use USDC. And so what we're trying to do is create that infrastructure to build smart agents. We're not building the smart agents ourselves, but we're trying to create the best tools for the best DevX for our users, which are developers and the people using our platform, to create the best smart agent applications that they can, and making sure that they have access to abundant liquidity. They have access to be able to have a model communicate with the chain in a transparent way, so that people can see these open source models and see the weights, maybe influence the weights on chain, that they can see the data that the model is being trained with, that we don't have these walled gardens where every model is being trained on proprietary data, and that people have access to compute. So there are a lot of great projects that are in Web3 that are giving smaller teams access to more compute, which is one of the most constrained resources in AI. And that's another thing that Talus is trying to connect entrepreneurs with.
I wanna add something to what Ben said. If you think concretely about how these agents interact in traditional systems, or how they interact, is like, and connecting to the point that Ben made, that like a smart agent won't handle USD, will handle USDC. Like, you cannot have a smart agent go into Bank of America and open a bank account by itself. Like, the bank won't let it. You won't be able to like go and send a payment very easily through Stripe, because Stripe needs you to create an API key and pay for the usage, right? So I think if you look at Web2, the way that it's structured, each application has its own separate data silo, and these agents will have a hard time not only understanding the APIs, but also accessing all the permissions that these centralized APIs need to grant to the agents to interact seamlessly. So we envision a world where all these agents will interact within the same data substrate, or the same shared data substrate, and every single application that the agent interacts with is completely open and composable. So if you want to build an agent that goes and trades, you could give access to your wallet to the agent, and the agent would just like go and trade. If you want the agent to like connect to an exchange, the agent itself would just add another function that's completely native to the blockchain and go and trade into the definition of the agent. So yeah, that's kind of like an overlaying thoughts around it.
Yeah, and if I could just reiterate that, because I mentioned these four inputs, these four AI inputs. So just to go into further detail about those, if you think about AI really has three main inputs. There's the compute, which is a very scarce resource, right? Compute is like the new gold in the 21st century AI economy. That's used to train these models. You need a lot of energy. You need a lot of computing power. There's the data on which the models are trained. And data is like food for AI. It needs access to a lot of data and high quality data for AI to grow. And then there's the model themselves. And if you think about these models, right, there's AI models are like any other kind of software. So they can be treated as closed source, an industry secret, trained on proprietary data, and trained on a compute as a constrained resource, which is what a lot of the Web 2 companies are angling for, right? The Web 2 giants have all of the money, they can subsidize capex very early on in the R&D stage to buy up FPGAs and H100s and to train these models. They can afford to buy access to proprietary data so that they can get a competitive advantage to train their models. And a lot of these Web 2 companies are trending, not all of them, but a lot of them, and a lot of the most notable ones are trending toward closed source models that's treated as an industry secret. We think that it's a lot better if people, if smaller teams have access to more abundant compute, if people have control over the data that's shared with these teams that are training AI models, while at the same time, teams have access to data marketplaces where they can access data to train models, and that AI models are open source and that anyone can see them. Anyone can look at the weights. Maybe even people can control the weights on chain. All of this is only possible with blockchain technology. And then, of course, in addition to that, to make smart agents happen, smart agents, for them to transfer money for you, for them to transfer value, they need access to liquidity. And so that's those three first inputs that I mentioned are the three inputs of AI that come together on Talus in a decentralized way to build smart agents. In addition to that, smart agents necessitate access to liquidity, which is what crypto solves. I don't think I need to explain to you guys what the advantages of decentralizing money are.
This is wildly fascinating. I just have one quick follow-up question, and that is, how does the person, like let's say myself in this scenario, prompt the smart agent? It's not something that's like set up and then it just goes and does its own thing, almost like a smart contract. Or am I able to like prompt it later and say, okay, hey, stop trading. Now go trade this. Like, how do I actually interact with the smart agent?
Yeah. So we think about smart agents as the most generalizable decentralized application. So when you were to like define or build a smart agent within Talus, you would define this as smart contract. And then these smart contracts, you could basically say, okay, I want you to interact with XYZ and give it a script for it to like go and based on one output do X or another output do Y. So you could basically kind of like define what the workflow of the agent and what it should do. If you think a bit step forward, we definitely want these agents to interact completely autonomously for like a continuous time. I think that's going to take a bit of time until we start seeing like agents that are completely long-term autonomously interacting with other agents or other humans. But back to answer your question briefly, Jordan, the way that we think about these agents is you deploy the agent, build the agent, either give it a workflow or not, or have the agent understand what you want and execute for you. And then you could basically interact with it through like a front end part of our stack, which is the Talus, like we're building a Talus SDK that has like a UI or like a front end component. And we've also been partnering with other protocols who are building UI tools for smart agents where it's just like a drag and drop. So you could kind of like build a framework, build a drag and drop workflow, and then potentially come back to the front end and say, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. So it kind of like depends whether if you're like a super experienced developer, like yeah, you could go and build smart agents with your own code, or if you are like a grandma or like somebody who just wants some work to get done, you could easily just drag and drop certain like objects, like models, data, computer, as Ben was saying, and put them together in a workflow that would make it work and build your application with it.
Yeah, and to add to that, so Jordan, your question is, to what extent does the end user have to interact with the smart agent for the smart agent to carry out his or her intent? The answer to that is Talus is the nexus where all of these inputs for AI come together. So it's whatever the developer builds. We want to give developers the best developer experience and the best tools possible to build smart agents and let them run with that, right? We imagine that we're going to have a very diverse innovation space where a lot of different teams are building different kinds of smart agents that require different levels of end user interaction. So yeah, really, we just want to allow for the best user experience possible, and in doing that, opening up the design space as much as possible.
I'm really glad that there's a drag and drop option, because that would be me. I would be the grandpa guy, like, okay, let me put this in here. But we talked a lot about smart agents, and that was a wonderful explanation, a lot about what you guys are building. But let's talk a little bit more about the blockchain itself. So one of the things that you've chosen is the Move VM, which is really sort of an up and coming. It seems like Rust underlies everything now, and Move is becoming incredibly popular. And so just kind of want to hear more about why you chose Move. And I think I may know some answers just from having read the light paper, know a little bit about Move language, and just why that was the actual VM you wanted to create when building the Talus network for these smart agents.
Yeah, the thing about Move is it's a very simple idea of like the EVM, and you probably heard this from other projects. Like it's very hard to build in the EVM. Like if you're gonna be able to represent different AI resources on a network that need to be represented as objects, and they need to be composable, they need to be extensible, they need to be flexible, and you want developers to have that kind of like easiness of thought about like program designs and for building and composing these agents. Solidity as like a functional programming framework or programming design, it's going to be very difficult. Like if you build an agent and you want to like compose it with other agents, that smart contract in Solidity is not going to be extensible, or you have to even put together multiple contracts, and each time you want to add some type of feature, you have to like reference to each contract back and forth, and it just make it like much more complex. Not even think about the security vulnerabilities that all these implementations of contracts and standards could bring. So that's why like Move offers like a huge benefit. Like you're able to easily build or represent these type of AI resources like objects that you could define ownership capabilities, you could define monetization capabilities very easily. You could send from memory location to other memory locations. And just like the whole language itself is built around object centricity and digital assets. Whether in Solidity you have to kind of like, if you want to send like a data set from one location to the other, you have to like send like prompt the function, then like add and subtract from the mapping where all these addresses and balances are located. And we definitely need to have a way to like represent all these like unique assets in a flexible manner. And then you obviously have the parallel execution side of things and the high throughput and performance, where if you have a network of hundreds of thousands of agents, you want to have them interact in high throughput very easily with each other, not having to like congest the network based on usage. And then, finally, as I mentioned before, is like the security component. Like, imagine if you want to have like thousands of developers building smart agents, and each smart agent is different, and each smart agent is composing with different applications. Like and even if you put AI in the mix, like it can make it much more complex. So being able to like put these 3 points together within a platform is what like made us choose Move. I don't know, Ben, if you want to add to anything to that. I think could probably touch anything more deeply.
So why Move at a high level? If you read about Move, or if you don't have a developer background, you might hear a lot of these terms like object-oriented programming or object-centric versus account-centric, or asset-centric. There's three things I want to highlight. First of all, the idea with all of this talk about object centricity is that in the future, to build the best blockchain systems, to build the best Web3 experience, and the best DevX in particular, developers are going to value tangibility in the digital world. So the whole idea with that is with tangibility, with declaring objects that a fungible token, for instance, can be treated as a fungible token in that workflow, or a non-fungible token can be treated as a non-fungible token within that workflow. So that's the first thing. Second of all, the Move VM, as we see it, is the fastest execution environment that we've seen, plain and simple. And we think that blockchain should be fast. And if you want to enable the best use cases, if you want to enable the best performance, if you want people actually using the chain for a wide variety of use cases, then the chain needs to be fast and needs to be highly parallelized. Third, I think that a lot of the focus right now is on different ideologies within Web3. Like, I'm an Ethereum guy, or I'm an EVM guy, or I'm a Solana guy, but not interested in Move, or I really prefer the account-centric model for because it's more extensible. I think that like I have allegiance to this one VM because there's more research on it, and because there more people are looking at it. You have it has a larger network effect. What I'd say to that is, if we want people to use blockchains to do stuff, we need to give them the best tools. And we did a lot of research on this. In our estimation, Move is the most performant programming language, and Move VM as an execution environment is the most performant execution environment. So we're not ideologues here. We just want to build great products, create infrastructure for people to build great products that people are going to actually use. I think it's really important to us that Talus is a consumer project that everyday people can use. And so that's what we're trying to do in why we picked Move.
I love it. That's a great answer. I do not have a dev background, but having read the white paper, and I actually saw Sam Blackshear speak at the SUI Dev Connect event in East Denver and give his presentation. And it was almost made for somebody like me who doesn't really have a coding background, but I could understand and appreciate sort of the unique attributes that he built into that system. So I could see why you guys chose it. And it's great to hear that you're not ideologues, which I always think that that's so senseless in this space when everybody could be learning from each other and taking, the best of what each has to offer. So you guys are clearly on the road to something great here. So how do people get in touch with you? What is coming up next for Talus Network? What's the best place for people to reach out? How can they join the community? If you just want to share some of that information, of course, we'll link all this as well to the podcast episode, but just kind of want to hear from you guys too.
Yeah, so we're almost everywhere. Obviously, follow on Twitter. There's the Discord handle and the Discord invite in the bio, but we could share it. I think what's coming next is kind of like a fully ramp up to our community program. We're putting a lot of effort into bootstrapping a community that's technical and also fun to engage with, and also interesting to be in. And obviously, smart agents is a topic that a lot of people still need to learn about, and obviously we're putting a lot of effort into educating people as well. So yeah, come hang out with us. We've been doing a bunch of community events, games, hangouts, meets. It's very easy to be accessible to us. Meet the team. Happy to chat at any time. And then completely focus heads down building our initial dev that should come in the next coming weeks. And yeah, we're looking forward to our progress. Looking forward to onboard some initial applications. And yeah, stay tuned. Follow us on social media, and happy to chat and keep going at it.
Sounds great. Any final words, Ben?
Just follow us on Twitter at Talus Network. Join our Discord. We're going to have some really cool community initiatives coming out very soon. So be sure you're following us, because we're very focused on engaging the community and building the largest community possible. We really think that we're pursuing a unique use case that not a lot of people have looked at. This is a very new thing. It's going to be difficult to build, but join this community, and I think we can really do something special here.
Well, thank you guys again for taking the time. I know you've been very busy building and working on all this stuff from community building, but especially the protocol itself. Can't thank you enough for taking the time to join us. I hope everybody who's been watching and tuning in today has enjoyed this conversation. That's it for today's Decentral Lounge. We'll see you next time. Take care.